Listener discretion is advised.
I'm going to try to keep this brief, but my God, there's so much.
Oh,
Because today I'm going to be talking about QAnon.
Thank God.
QAnon.
Rhiannon.
So, Stevie Nicks is Q. And that's my case. Okay. And also the violence that this conspiracy theory has left in its wake and continues to create, because it's not completely gone, even though it's kind of in a dormant weird ever since Trump lost the election. And we've
No, they're just waiting till September.
kept
Something
waiting.
big is happening in
Oh,
September.
right.
It
It's
just
always
keeps
gonna, they just
it
gonna keep
reminds
pushing
me
it.
of in Parks and Rec when the death cult keep reserving the park because Zorp is going to come and like burn all the flesh off of everybody, and they just keep getting the date wrong.
Yeah.
It's so good.
We misread the signs.
Yeah.
We got to go back to the literature.
Exactly.
Reanalyze.
And if you haven't watched the like QAnon documentary on HBO, please watch it. Sit with the ridiculousness of the origin of this conspiracy. Also, researching this has destroyed my search history, so I need to throw out all of my computers. Here we go.
Join the club, honey.
We're fucked.
I have had to Google some really fucked up
Bad
shit.
stuff. Bad stuff. So QAnon first came to the internet in 2017 when an anonymous account going by Q Clearance Patriot posted to the cesspool of internet message boards known as 4chan.
I feel like 4chan has an odor
It
that I can smell.
absolutely does. 4chan is known for its comfort in hosting extremist viewpoints in every facet: race, religion, politics, you name it. They're not going to shut down conversations
They're
about it.
terrorist curious.
Basically,
They're
yes.
extremist friendly.
Extremist friendly. It's a breeding ground for white supremacist ideation. It's honestly one of the most disgusting places on the mainstream internet. Like, this is not a dark web message board. Anybody can go here. Your children could accidentally Google this and end up there.
Or purposefully.
Yeah. Q's post.
Or your parents. More worrisome.
Yeah. Q's post, the first post that came up, claimed that they were a high-ranking government insider ready to blow the lid off some intel that reveals former President Trump is fighting against a global democratic ring of child abusers.
Well, I have no further questions. If they say
Done.
that they're a high-ranking government insider,
Behind an anonymous username on a message board that literally anyone can access. No notes.
No notes.
So this is from The Guardian. Quote, the conspiracy theory's narrative includes centuries-old anti-Semitic tropes like the belief that the cabal is harvesting blood from abused children. And
which is
names-
literally a conspiracy theory from the fucking Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get
Centuries
over
old.
it.
And it names specific people, including Democratic politicians and Hollywood celebrities, as participants in a global plot. Experts call these extreme, baseless claims, quote, an incitement to violence. And so Pizzagate, I don't really talk about it much in this, but basically that was like this theory that these Democratic politicians would go eat regularly at this literal like pizza place in Washington, D.C. And the theory was that it had like a dungeon, like a basement. And they were going there to basically traffic children into the sex trade.
And this pizza place had like an adjacent like arcade. Like it was a family friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And
It was
people
like a
were
little
showing
Chuck E.
up there,
Cheese.
like storming this pizza place. And they were like, they were like, oh my God, our basement is storage for like
No, they don't
pizza
even
boxes.
have a
They don't even have
basement.
a
Oh yeah, that's right.
There
They don't
is no
have a
basement.
basement. Anyway, the
It's a
whole
fucking
thing is
pizza
bullshit.
place.
It's a
It's
pizza
like if
joint.
you just were like, okay, Q actually stands for Quiznos.
Right.
And in every Quiznos, there is a radio tower 5G web that the
Wait.
aliens built. And it's just like, oh.
It's so fucking stupid. It's
Okay,
so
wait, keep
fucking
going
stupid.
though, because this tracks.
I was kind of on a
Have you
roll
seen
there.
those Quiznos commercials with the fucking gerbil things with the human mouths?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Tell
that
me
is
that
part of
aliens
it.
are not using 5Gs in Quiznos to control our minds, and that the aliens don't look exactly like those little furry fuckers from the Quiznos
And
commercials.
if you get your sandwich toasted, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, you're
in on
toast.
it. Yeah,
You're done.
it's a secret language.
Mhm. They toast it with the power of the electromagnets.
The
from
5G.
5G.
fueled by
And their
children.
tuna is
Honestly-
actually Soylent Green from the children, and you'll live forever because it has their blood in it.
This
Right.
gold spins itself. I get it now.
Yeah.
This is from the New York Times. Quote, Q predicted that a war would soon culminate in what was called the storm, an appointed time when Mr. Trump would finally unmask the cabal, punish its members for their crimes, and restore America to greatness. End
What's
quote.
really funny about this is that Donald Trump is a fucking pedophile.
Yep. Uh-huh.
He
He's
was
like
actually
legit
accused of rape
BFFs.
by a fucking 14-year-old.
And he was like BFFs with Jeffrey fucking Epstein.
Yep.
Yo.
Also, that's the title of that HBO documentary. If anyone's looking for it, I think it's called Into the Storm.
That's right. That's right. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. I'm going to watch it again.
Do it.
And what I just said is not a fucking conspiracy theory. It was
No,
a
it's
that's
literal
real.
accusation.
Court documents. Yep.
And this is not just a Republicans being bonkers and like Democrats are flawless situation.
No,
There
A lot
are-
of liberals have been pulled into this shit.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
there are predators in every
Yeah.
fucking government system of.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
It doesn't matter. This is where I'm coming from here is actually pretty non-fucking partisan because I know that fucking Bill Clinton had photos with Jeffrey Epstein too. Like,
Oh yeah, Bill
I-
Clinton is a fucking pervert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And predator.
no one is defending any of these individuals. And they also don't traffic kids through a pizza parlor
No.
in DC. They just
They
don't.
don't fucking have to.
They
They're
don't.
rich people. If
Exactly.
they want to abuse children,
Epstein
they
bought
don't need
an
to
island.
go to a pizza parlor.
They would go
Right.
to Epstein's fucking island. He bought an island.
or
to-
Craigslist.
Yeah, I mean, this is like we said earlier, it's like the clear path is usually the path that makes sense. They don't need to do this chessboard Pizzagate
No.
bullshit to
Pull the wool over your
pull the wool over your eyes.
No.
They have enough
They
money
just hire
to
a fucking escort service.
exactly to discreetly be predators
Right.
without needing any of the rest of this to cover up their shit.
If it just takes a couple $1 billion to launch yourself into space for 10 minutes in a dick-shaped rocket,
You can
imagine
molest
what you can
children.
do.
Yep.
You could buy an island and molest children
That's what Epstein did.
with impunity.
That's
you
what
don't
Epstein
even
did.
have to have an island, you
You don't.
guys.
You fucking don't.
There are
No.
plenty of just websites with
Oh,
child
yes.
sexual abuse material. Like it's
Yes.
Absolutely, but
It's
I'm
not-
saying
There's no
specifically
conspiracy.
in
There's
the
no
roots of
pizza
this
thing.
conspiracy.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they're trying
yeah,
to
it's
say, and
overwrought.
it makes no sense.
It's not this fantastical
No.
thing.
right.
God wish. God. Okay, so
Sorry,
regularly
I'll try to stop screaming now.
I can't. I can't. So please don't. Please join me in
It's gonna be a
my
long
screaming.
episode.
Regularly, Q would post updates that became known as Q drops, barf, like dewdrops, Q drops.
Ew.
First, they were posted to 4chan. Then he got like shut down on 4chan, I guess, because someone finally like sued. And they had ties to that fucking march with the tiki torches and all of these fucking demonstrations as well and inciting violence. So he moved over to a new site called 8chan and then 8kun. And all of this is like also a trail to who Q actually is, which again, I'm not going to focus on that in this episode because it's a lot. You have to go watch that HBO documentary.
There is a reveal at the end, though. It's really
it
interesting.
Basically, like I said earlier, basically these different platforms are either moderated or literally built and created by the same individuals who are believed to be Q, who don't really have any stake in politics at all and just use Q to draw traffic to these sites for money.
And
so
then
like
it
I
kind
said,
of
got
just
a little
fucking
bit
out
with
of
people.
their own
they did.
expectations.
It's like this grew way beyond what we can handle. So just like most conspiracies, like I said earlier, it's a capitalist trick so someone can profit off the stupidity of the masses, fucking question everything, but not in this way. Like if someone's trying to get you to believe something really staunchly that's just really grandiose and bizarre, they probably want something from you. Or someone at the
Right?
top wants something from you. Like that's what you should be questioning.
right?
I don't. But
But
the
this
vaccine,
guy
though.
has
I
no
can't.
stake. This guy
It's
has
like-
no dog
It's
in
like
that
the
fight.
skepticism is like it's misdirected.
And it's not healthy. Like there are healthy levels of skepticism that we should all have. This is not health. This is harming people.
It's like you're being skeptical. You're only pointing your skepticism at logic and facts and the truth and conventional wisdom.
Bizarre, grandiose,
and
delusional
not at
ideation.
the fucking scam artists that are using you.
Using you. Exactly. You're being fucking used. So these Q drops would contain coded messages alluding to illicit behavior of mostly Democrats who held positions of power or previously held positions of power. And I'm not going to read it, but there's a screenshot of one on the drive that'll be on the blog so you can see how like the coded quote unquote messaging would be, made. So this grew such an intense following that people developed apps that would track and alert them to new Q drops, of which there were thousands. I think by the last time there was a known post by QAnon, and like they can tell not necessarily the exact location of this individual who's posting, because this individual that is believed to be Q is like very techie, so kind of knows how to make like dummy IP addresses, but there are still ways of knowing that it's the same like device or same individual that's posting these. So there were enough like
Chemtrails.
Technologically intelligent. Oh my God, don't even get me started on chemtrails. To be able to identify that like, okay, this is a real this is a real Q drop because it came from the same person as or the same like IP whatever as the original
Because I'm sure there were a bajillion people going on there being like, I'm Q.
Yeah, for sure. So according to the New York Times, quote,
I'm Q.
It's also me. One of these apps hit the top 10 paid apps in Apple's App Store before it was pulled down for violating the company's guidelines. Groups following and dissecting these Q drops popped up all over social media, especially Facebook. It's estimated that millions of Americans believe in QAnon still to this day. Quote, before Facebook moved to block QAnon content, some popular QAnon groups on the platform had hundreds of thousands of members, and NBC News reported last year on an internal Facebook study that found thousands of QAnon pages and groups operating on the social network with millions of members between them. Twitter removed more than 70,000 QAnon-affiliated accounts after the January 6th Capitol riot, and some YouTube videos explaining the tenets of QAnon garnered millions of views before they were taken down last year. So this was like fucking huge.
I have a question. It was huge.
It was huge.
I feel like QAnon is such a huge like ideology, or it's an umbrella over a bunch of different like ideologies or like specific conspiracies. So when you say that like hundreds of thousands of Americans believe or millions of Americans believe in QAnon, is it not important to say that millions of Americans might believe in one aspect or another of QAnon? Because like
yes, there are
so many different
levels.
tentacles of theories.
If they believe the basic tenet of it, that there is some high government insider who is anonymously sharing clues.
And that's the thing. Like, it's not necessarily believing in QAnon doesn't mean you automatically believe everything under that umbrella, but you believe that this is an actual government insider because QAnon is a person.
Yeah, but I think a lot of these, like Pizzagate, for example, I think a lot of people kind of caught on to it, but never necessarily traced it back to that one individual on 4chan. Like
sure,
it was just a theory. It was like an independent theory.
Pizzagate was around before QAnon posted, because QAnon didn't post for the first time until 2017.
Oh, okay.
So absolutely he like, or maybe not he directly, but like people who were starting to follow him then pulled in these other existing conspiracies under his umbrella.
There are so many tentacles to
absolutely.
This.
Yeah, because it's a bunch of people with time on their hands being like, well, I think that this clue is related to this thing, so bring this thing in.
And it's in these articles that are talking about how many people believe in it. Even these articles are saying like it's probably more, because there are people who may have like expressed interest or belief in a particular conspiracy theory, but never got sucked into the huge rabbit hole that is QAnon, like proper QAnon.
But in effect, I mean, it had the same effect for the most
Absolutely.
part.
So
like,
what-
especially
what-
if it drove their political actions,
Exactly.
their
Well,
voting,
right.
whatever.
If anybody believes in like the deep state,
Exactly.
that is a branch of QAnon.
Of QAnon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically what like the New York Times and the Guardian were saying in some of these articles, it's like, it's probably fucking more, because this is also pulled from data that we're getting in online spaces where people are reacting to or sharing or commenting or whatever, like having some kind of engagement that's traceable with this content.
Right.
That doesn't account for your grandma who doesn't know how to fucking use a computer, who's learning this from her grandson who's
Right.
all over the internet, and
That's
she
why
believes it too, you know? So it's actually probably bigger than we even know.
Probably like closer to half the population.
I wouldn't be
honestly.
shocked. I don't want to speculate. We know from looking at data on the internet that worldwide, not just in the US, but worldwide, there are millions of people who have engaged with and like believe and shared in like a positive way this misinformation.
Okay.
And that's where they're kind of getting that data.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna spend the remainder of my segment going over like a little timeline of violence by Q conspiracy theorists specifically.
I'm gonna spend the remainder of your segment screaming in my heart.
Scream inside your heart and
Scream inside
drink
your heart.
up, Quins. Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.